Good morning, all. Good morning out there. Hope you're all well. We are live and alive on today, Thursday. Oh, it's so close to the weekend. Thursday, the 3rd of April. I know when it is. It's fine. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's well out there. We're back with another deck tech. As it's new set season, there's a bunch of cool ones for us to get to. And we have a cool one today. There's a lot of hype around this one. Today, we are brewing Kotis the Fangkeeper. This is a very cool card. It's kind of a bit of a throwback to a card from original cards. This kind of, I think, from initial looks, the most anticipated commander, just in terms of number of decks being built. But let's have a look at Kotis. So one of the things Kotis is cool for is it is sort of a throwback to a very cool card from original cards, Villainous Wealth. Let's actually read Kotis first. Kotis is... Meow, you're late, darling. Your audience is waiting. Come on, you want to talk about Kotis with me? Meow. Meow. Oh, are you playing hard to get? 1 second, chat. Come on. I'm going to be a diva now. No, it's fine. You're great. Alright, let's read Kotis. Kotis the Fangkeeper is 1 Assault Eye for a 2-1. I'll admit, that is not a great start, but it does get a lot better, don't worry. It is a legendary creature, zombie warrior, with indestructible. That is better. When Kotis deals combat damage to a player, exile the top X cards of their library, where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana costs. That's very good. So it's a throwback to Villainous Wealth. This is just a game ender. It's a very strong card. Obviously, this one you can just pump all your mana into, which is nice and good. But Kotis is in the command zone. You always have access to it, and it does lead to kind of like you're building your deck one way. So the way we're going to be building this, again, we have our sections at the top here. We're going to be filling these in. If you a link to this deck will obviously be in the description below. If you want to build this deck yourself, you can just... I've got Voltron bits. I have some sections up here. Basically, you can just swap out bits that I put with bits that you like. Everyone has different collections. Everyone has different tastes. This is just a guide to help you fill in the deck, which is what we're going to be doing today. So, in terms of this is going to be a bit of a weird one, because the cards in the deck are going to be quite Voltron-y. We're going to be... Obviously, the higher Kotis' power, the more cards we exile and can play from our opponents. And the bigger spells that we can cast. Because obviously, if we just connect with it as a 2-1, we exile 2 spells and we can only cast spells with mana value 2 or less. But if it's 10, we exile 10 cards and we can play cards with mana value 10 or less. So obviously, we want to buff up its power. We also want to make sure that it's connecting for damage. It's not going to be that... The deck won't function if Kotis is blocked, so we want to give it some evasion. So the deck is going to be built very much like a Voltron deck. It's going to be built very Voltron-y. But what's kind of cool about this, and why I think this one is very popular as a commander, is that the actual games with it won't play out like a standard Voltron deck. Because you're just playing so many cards from your opponent's decks, with this, when it connects, when it's buffed up and when you do that, you're going to have this whole additional level of detail and gameplay. So I'm just going to adjust the camera slightly. And that's something that other Voltron decks just don't really have, which is really cool. Like other Voltron decks, you get to load up a creature and wail on your opponents with it. But then that's it. With this, you get to load up all your stuff onto a creature, wail on your opponents, and then you get to play a bunch of spells from their deck. The one thing to keep in mind with this is that if you play a bunch of cards from an opponent's deck and then you kill them and take them out of the game, all their permanents will go with them. Just something to consider. So there is a world where you do kind of have to throw around the damage and not finish off people, unless you're going to finish off everyone in one turn. Hopefully with this, we can... The game plan is, stick stuff on Kotis, play a bunch of cool stuff from our opponent's deck, or just play everything. It doesn't matter if we hit 10 1-drops, that's still a great amount of value from our opponent's decks. Well, we're also going to be beating opponents with their own win conditions, that kind of stuff. Like there is a world where maybe this deck, even though it's built around a Voltron deck, should run an overrun because of the amount of creatures we're going to be stealing from our opponent's decks. Like those are things you can consider. But generally speaking, we're going to be focusing on stuff that our deck can do, which is beating down our opponents and getting a bunch of value from their decks. So again, we have our sections along the top here. Let's start filling these in. So the first one is Voltron, Auras, Equipment, and Mutate. So all of those things will buff up Kotis's power. So let's look at some auras first in our colours. We're going to search in Commander Colour Identity, in our auras, and then we're going to search by EDH rank. See what we get. There will be some in here that don't work in the deck. Or Wild Growth and Animate Dead, fantastic auras, not Voltron-y, if that makes sense. We could run Wild Growth in our ramp section, which is not bad, and Generation in our removal. So there could, in theory, be a touch, like you could build this with a Enchantress sub-theme, actually. That could be quite interesting if you really wanted to lean into the enchantments. I think I kind of want a little mix of everything, just because basically the goal of this for me is to just make Kotis as big as possible. So that means using the best and most efficient bits of auras, equipment, and mutate, basically. So the first one I think that we're going to add is Rancor. I have a strong connection to Rancor. Again, first deck ever on the wall behind me. Rancor is in it. Rancor is here, next to the Phyrexian Reclamation. Next to the Chime of Night, if you know what that card does. But Rancor's going to get in. Rancor, great card. Single green. Enchant creature gets +2/+0 and has trample, and when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, return Rancor to its owner's hand. This is... So, obviously the one thing with auras is that if they kill our commander, we lose it. We lose them. With Rancor, you don't have that. Rancor, famously a fair and fixed magic card. Aqueous Form is another solid one. But this is Evasion. So Evasion Givers is its whole section. Because we want to make sure that it can get through. Like, again, so Rancor giving it trample is also nice because we can rumble over. But, like, really, we want it to be unblocked. Really, we just want to be dealing all of our damage to our opponents. That's really what we're after. So stuff that fully makes it unblockable is going to be great. And the added Scry is going to be pretty good. I don't think we're straight Curiositying, because it doesn't raise its power and toughness. But we could run something like Snake Umbra as a bit of card draw. When this creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. We will be looking at effects that do stuff when we deal damage to our opponents, because that's kind of what the deck is doing. Also, Snake Umbra we're probably going to add Snake Umbra just because it's a little bit of everything. It's not the best buff. It's only +1/+1 for 3 mana. It's not the best card draw engine. It's only going to be 1 card. But the Totem Armor is great protection. If the creature would be destroyed, you destroy this instead. So this is a little bit of everything. So we could actually call Snake Umbra protection, actually. I think that's where we're going to put it. We do also want a decent amount of protection, because we're a Voltron deck. We're building it around... In Commander, you generally want some protection to keep your commander in play and around. Because decks more and more nowadays are becoming more and more specifically about the commander and the strategy the commander unlocks. So you need to have it in play more. So people are running and should be running more protection to keep their commander around if your whole game plan requires having your commander in play. Yes, you have access to it in the command zone, but things die in commander. A Voltron deck, more than any other, really needs their commander in play. So that's why the protection is slightly higher. That's why we've just added in Snake Umbra. Alright. We need some big buffs now. Colossification? That's a big buff. Jesus. Enchant creature. It gets +20/+20 when it enters tap enchanted creature. I mean, that will just one-shot a person. Actually, so this is what I was talking about earlier. If we connect with this and an unblockable commander, we will one-shot an opponent, which is good from a win con point of view, but not good from a steal their stuff point of view. I think we keep it in, just as we'll keep it untagged at the moment, because we might just make room for some dedicated win cons. Because this will just one-shot someone, which is good, but it doesn't let us play with their deck. Alright, what else do we have? Oh, okay, here's some perfect ones. Strong Back, I think, is pretty solid. Enchant Creature. Equip abilities you activate that target Enchant Creature costs 3 less to activate, so this will synergize really nicely with some equipment. Aura spells you cast that target Enchant Creature costs 3 less to cast, so it actually makes classification easier to cast, which is kind of nuts. An Equipped Creature gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it. So 3 mana gives it +2/+2, and then it will scale up. That's actually... I didn't know green had a... was it Revel in Riches, something like that? Or like the All That Glitters style of card, but that Strong Back is very strong. Each aura and equipment attached, that's phenomenal. That's a great Voltron card. Is this card expensive? Don't be expensive. Okay, $1.50. We'll take that. That's pretty good. Indomitable Might is another great one. Let's open you up. 4 mana, flash Enchant Creature. Enchant Creature get +3/+3. That's a decent base, but this, like the Rocks line of text, I love. Enchanted creatures controller may have it assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. What that means is that... So this is a buff, and it's also evasion. This means that when the creature connects, you can just deal its damage straight to the opponent. It will still take combat damage, but it just pushes it straight through. One of my early commander... It wasn't good, this early commander deck. But it had rocks in it. It gives it this kind of effect. There is probably an earlier version of this type of effect, but I know it from rocks. And Indomitable Might, great card. Basically, it's evasion. It's a big buff, and it's evasion. We love this for us. Alright. Well Rested, I know, has been pretty solid. When this creature becomes untapped, put 2/+1 counters on it, then you gain 2 life and draw a card. Its ability triggers only once each turn. That's just very flexible. Like, I like the fact that it draws us a card and it's 2 counters. We're going to put that in Voltron because it is nice and cheap as well. And we do want... That's the thing, Kotis is 4 mana. The thing with auras is that you can't play them before you have the creature, and you can't move them around. So there will probably be less auras than equipment, because equipment, you can obviously... We can play a 3-drop equipment before we play Kotis. That's quite nice. How many do we have? We have 3 bits of Voltron, 2 bits of evasion. Okay, this is pretty good. It's a nice start anyway. I guess 3% and has beginning of upkeep create a sapling. I don't think that's what we want. Lures are quite funny. I don't think we're going to do that because we really like in Voltron decks you can use like lures, so it makes all creatures able to block enchanted creatures do so. You can like especially with indestructible actually. This just could turn Kotis into a board wipe, but we want to go more the Aether Tunnel route of making it repeatedly not being able to be blocked. So let's get Aether Tunnel in. Where did Aether Tunnel go? Get in the deck, please, Aether Tunnel. Thank you. Oh, boo. Remove 1. Aether Tunnel is some nice evasion. It's also nice and cheap, which we love. What is this card? I've never seen Nerd Rage before. 2... Well, I say that. I'm assuming I've man-bossed out at some point. You have no maximum hand size. Whenever this creature attacks, you have 10 or more cards in your hand. You get +10/+10 end of turn. Let's keep that open. We will do some big card draw in a moment, but I'm not sure that's where we are with it. I really just want, like, +something. Obviously, if anyone has any suggestions in the chat, do let us know. I'm going to change our... We want plus. I want power and toughness. I want that to be in there. We have some nice utility now. Let's not start faffing around. Alright, Ancestral Umber for each other enchantment on the battlefield. On the battlefield's quite fun. That includes our opponent's stuff. But again, if you were going full Enchantress, this would be a cool way to go, but I don't think we are. Actually, Audacity. The fixed Rancor. Yes, with 2/7 as trample, and when it is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Yeah. it does what we want. It buffs up the power. We don't actually care about the toughness as much in this because of Kotis naturally having indestructible, which is wild. Like, I could have seen them printing the bottom part of this text like 5 years ago, just as a kind of like, yeah, screw it, do some cool thing like this. But like the fact that it has indestructible is so pushed. Actually, love that for us. All right. What else do we want? So again, there's a bunch in here that are just really good. Ooh, I like that. I think I like. Is it Demonic Embrace? 1 black. Giant creature gets +3/+1 and has flying and is a demon in addition to its other types. You may cast it from your graveyard by paying 3 life and discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So the fact that this can come back, I think I like. This. We're going to stick this in evasion. It's pretty solid because it gives it flying, which we love for us. So yeah, this kind of the Curious Obsession stuff I think is fun, but I don't think I specifically want it on like when it deals damage, draw a card. We could go this way, but I'm not as hot on it. I think I want just general effects that do that. Rather than just on specific creatures. What do you do? Favor of the Overbeing? 1 and a hybrid Simic. Enchanted creature gets... As long as enchanted creature is green, Kotis is green, it gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. As long as enchanted creature is blue, Kotis is blue, it gets +1/+1 and has flying. Oh, that's sick. 2 mana, +2/+2, vigilance, flying. That's really good. Well, let's stick you in evasion, actually, because flying... I think this is kind of getting... Yeah, I'm liking this. I think we might start looking at artifacts next, just because auras... yeah, they don't come back if they get killed. So we only really want the really, really good ones. And I think we've got all the ones I really want. Like, Epic Proportions is pretty vibey, but I think let's go for equipment next. Because again, we have plenty of options to go through. What's some really good equipment in these colours? Let's search by EDH rank, please and thank you. Right, so obviously, I think Swiftfoot Boots gets in as some protection. This is not a deck that wants Lightning Greaves. Shroud means we can't target it. That does not help us in the slightest. We are not going to put Lightning Greaves. Mithril Coat, though, we can play it afterwards. Love that for us. Blackblade Reforged, very solid card. 2 mana, equipped legendary creature, 3 mana. So we can play this on curve. We can play this earlier in the game. It can sit there and can then make Kotis huge. So we don't get lands of our opponent's decks, importantly, so we do need to play our own lands, but we'll be playing ramp, everything will be fine. This is just great Voltron. Whisper Silk Cloak, it can't be blocking a Shroud. Again, we don't want that. We don't want Shroud. You can move this off, so there is a world where basically, as long as this is the last thing that you're putting on it, but I don't think we're running this, actually. There's other things we can run. I think Loxodon Warhammer, potentially. The Lifelink, I think, is quite nice. It's a little pricey, but just a very good card. And also, yeah, because we don't care about toughness at all with this commander. That's pretty good. Trailblazers Boots. I always say that, man. I always say Bloots when I'm talking about this card. Trailblazers Booties. 2 mana. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk. Even monocolored decks have non-basic lands in them. This is effectively just gives it unblockable. So that is some great evasion. Fire Shrieker. Ooh, hold on. Double Strike. Ooh, Double Strike? Yeah, sorry, it just works the same way. Sorry, I thought there's something really broken we can do with that, but it's still damage. So, yeah, Double Strike is going to be really good. And, like, I'm kind of just picking out, so some of these are up here just because they have been reprinted a bunch. You can really tailor this to just suit what you have. Like honestly, like, I think I own, apart from, like, Favor of the Overbeing, because I haven't seen this card before today, and, like, some of these cards, I probably just own these just from playing Magic for like a decade and a half. So you can really just tailor this. Like, yeah, if you pick up Kotis at pre-release, and like this is a relatively budget-ish deck. I mean, I will have put some cards in here that are quite like I'm sure Mythical Coat has gone up in price, but like nothing in here is super pricey. Like you could really build this quite budget actually, and it'd be very strong because effectively this scales to what your opponents are doing very well because you're killing them and then you're playing with their deck. Darksteel Plate, solid, quite expensive. What do you do? Quick creature has Ward 2 and is an assassin into its other types. Love that. Oh, and can't be blocked. Oh, okay. Perfect. Evasion, you say. Get in, please. So we're actually pretty close to our evasion number, which is nice. Is it hammer time? Probably not. 8 mana is so much to equip, but that would be funny. Because we're not in the regular Voltron-y colours. Like, red and white have ways of cheating equipment on, and there are some bits in colourless, but we're probably not going to do that for this deck. But again, we're not full artifact Voltron. We are the best of all of them type Voltron. So we're not... So, similarly, so if you focus on one more, you can run some more payoff. So, like, as you mentioned, if you're more Enchantress, you can run some more Enchantress Matters cards. Things that care about the number of enchantments in play. If we were going full equipment, artifact stuff, we could really focus on some stuff that cheats. Or, like, it cheats equipment onto creatures or chooses up equipment, that kind of stuff. But, realistically, we are taking the best of all worlds. So we can't do things like Colossus Hammer, whereas if we were more equipment, we could. What else is cool and good? Ooh, Lava Spur Boots. As we don't have access to Greaves, I don't hate Lava Spur Boots. It's 1 mana, equip 1. Equip creature gets +1. Ward, haste, and ward 1. I think that's fine. I'll just stick you in Voltron. You're not. Excalibur, you say? 12 mana. This spell costs excess to cast will excess the total mana of historic permanents you control. So historic is artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. So 4 makes it cost 8. Have some of these on it. But 10+10 in vigilance is a hell of a lot. Are we going to put this in? Are you pricey? Okay, it's not too bad. A tenner. I need to pick one of these up for my SpongeBob SquarePants deck. I think it'd be really funny to kill people with a SpongeBob wielding Excalibur. That's a vibe. Yeah, let's stick Excalibur in. Screw it. Again, I am putting in bits I think are that I think are cool and good. Again, I've just gone through a bunch of different swords, like Sting. Like these are all perfectly solid cards. I'm just finding cards that I like and I think are vibey. Oh, Winged Boost is pretty good. Flying Ward 4. Ward 4 is actually a hell of a lot of ward. It can be evasion, it can be protection. Let's stick you in protection just so we can make room for other things, but I really like this. Haunted Cloak, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. That's not... this used to get into these kind of decks, but doesn't anymore, I don't think. Ooh, Power Fist is pretty... So, everything we've got... Power Fist falls into the weird category of you don't want this to be your first bit of equipment, but you're fine it being the third or fourth. A quick creature has Trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1 counters on it. So we can stick this in, probably under Evasion. This might be our last Evasion card. But this with the this snowballs, basically. I don't like too many of these effects. I don't like too many effects that kind of do nothing when they come in. Like, this is 2 mana, 2 to equip, that does nothing. When you deal damage, then it does something. But because we have these evasions, because we have this evasive stuff to help get our damage through, I think we can run it. You're going to be Voltron. It's very Voltron. Ooh, Conqueror's Flail is great in a 3-color deck. Quick creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control, so it gives it +3/+3. As long as Flail is attached, your opponents can't cast spell during your turns. That's pretty... I think I like that, actually. Not too pricey either. This is a card I've always wanted to put in a deck. I think it's a very cool card, but I've never actually put it in. This might be the time. Again, you can tailor this as you want. I just think them not being able to muck with us on our turn is oddly going to be really nice. Like it's almost protection. Ooh, Marco Grizzlebrand. Could kill us, but could draw us a bunch of cards. Love that. Batterskull, maybe. That's a pretty vibey card. Bone Sabers? Ooh. When a equipped creature attacks, put 4+1 counters on it. I do like that. That is a lot. That is a lot of counters. I think this is better if you're doing multiple combats. So if you're in a Gruul deck, personally. But cool card. Let's get rid of Nerd Rage for the time being. I don't think we're running it. Tanuki Transplanter. This is one we're going to actually run in our card draw section. No, sorry, in our ramp section. When Tanuki Transplanter or equipped creature attacks, add an amount of green equal to its power. Until end of turn, you don't lose that mana as it steps stage. So we're going to jump ahead to our ramp section. I generally like in decks to run 10 bits of ramp total, but I generally like 8 to be kind of just ramp. Like Llanowar Elves, Sol Ring, dedicated ramp that I know will work. This is kind of big late game ramp. So this is like when we're popping off, we equip this. It's also a creature, so it can block as well, which is nice. We equip this to Kotis when Kotis is massive, swing through, and then we can... Not only with Kotis will it allow us to play all of our opponent's stuff, but we can also then dump our hand as well. Just really get Kotis to a scary point for the next turn. Tanuki Transplanter is the card you play when you're a turn or two away from winning. And those cards can be a little bit hit and miss because they can be very all in. And like if you're not at that point, it's not a great late game draw. But like even if we're not hitting for like even if we're only hitting for like 5 damage. It doesn't even connect. It's just power. So yeah, it's even better. You don't even need to connect with it. That's actually pretty good. Right. Yeah. There's a bunch. Again, you can really. Ooh, Monarch for a bit of card draw could be quite fun. Dragon Throne of Tarkir is interesting, actually. So, you may notice, we only have 2 creatures in the deck right now. That is not a lot of creatures. But, actually, no, this type of card could be interesting, because effectively this is a buff for all the creatures when we're stealing from our opponents, because our opponents will have creatures. So, turning them into a lethal threat is quite funny, but I think you could add this to the deck, and I think it'd be quite good. I don't think we are. I think we just want efficient bits. We've got 11 bits of Voltron now. We wanted 18, I put down. Ooh. Let's add Aether Spark for some card draw, because that's pretty funny. Attach the Aether Spark up to... Yeah, this is a very... It's not super broken, but it is quite good, and will scale really well with this deck as we're making it bigger. I think we're going to call Aether Spark card draw, because it's -5... is draw 2 cards. In this deck, you will really get there with the Aether Spark. I think that's quite good. Alright, let's see what else we have. I feel kind of like we're not faffing, but... do we just like Bone Splitter? That's what I was looking for. Bone Splitter. 1 mana plus 2/0. Equip 1. This card has to be like 10p, 17p. Like it is just efficient. It is just good. That's kind of what I was looking for. Right. Ooh. Oh, that you can't actually equip it to a creature, but that is a fun one. Very good in cube, actually. I do quite like it. Ace's Baseball Bat. 2 mana, 1 toolkit gets plus 3/0. Alright, that's pretty good. As long as equipped creature is attacking, it has first strike and must be blocked by Daleks. That might not come up, but the first strike is nice. It's actually very efficient. Okay, cool. Alright. How many do we have? We have 3 bits. We want 5 more. Jesus. Let's try and get 1 more bit of equipment, and then let's go to... Actually, let's just go to Mutate now. Mutate's a fun mechanic. I remember at the time you could... what did I have? Brokos? You can definitely do some cool stuff with Mutate, especially as Mutate works really well with Kotis because its base power is a 2/1. What do we like? What's cool? Right, again, let's search by EDH rank. It's probably... What's cool? Gem Razor. I think we had Gem Razor just as some removal, actually. We can kind of get that in as a cheeky little bit of interaction that we can put on our commander, as long as our commander isn't a human. Okay, thank God, it's a zombie warrior. That's fine. This can be interaction. Comes in, is a Rex Sage, destroys artifact, or if it mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's fine in the deck. Also makes Kotis' base power and toughness 4/4. That's pretty good. Same with this one. When it 4 mana turns Kotis into a 6/6. When this creature mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent. So it beasts within something when it comes in. That's just good. Making our commander a 6/6 is just solid. And also, again, while we don't have that many creatures, our opponents will, and we will be stealing them from them. So that I do like. Let's get interaction. All right. Brokos is fun. You may cast Brokos from its graveyard, so you can get it twice and also make it a 6/6 trample. That is just good. That might actually be it for... there weren't as many mutate things as I wanted. So we are light... I mean, we're not light just because we have overlap. So we do have 8 bits of evasion because we have winged boots. Like, we do have more bits of... Actually, we do have 18 bits of Voltron because we have the 14 dedicated bits down here. We have the 14 dedicated bits down here, but we also have Snake Umbra. We have... Like, these will also give it plus stuff. So I think this is a good base. Let's go into our other bits and see where we are. It probably means actually we get to add some room for some dedicated wing cons, which is actually quite nice. There was a couple I saw... Isn't Kotis sort of Kotis sort of naughty? It is a little bit, but you know, it's all fun and love on the show. It is quite early in the morning. There's no watershed. There's no watershed on YouTube. We can do what we want. All right, let's just get our ramp in. So ramp. Let's just start with. Soul Ring is going to get in for ramp. Obviously, Soul Ring. Like, again, we're not... If we were more focusing on, like, the enchantments matter side, then we'd run wild growth effects. But again, we're just going for the best of stuff. So, Arcane, Signet. Where's Arcane? Where's Arcane Signet? Thank you. I've never seen that artwork before, that is why. Arcane Signet, we're a 3-color deck. Pretty solid. Rampant Growth. Actually, no, hold on. Let's do this properly. 3 visits. So should I be for a forest? This gets non-basics, which is great. What is the other one called? So should I be for a What is the other? Nature's Law. Again, it gets a non-basic, which is great. So if we have any budget jewels in this deck, or shot clans or whatever, you can go and get them. That's 5. I mean, are we just... Let's actually make this properly. Birds of Paradise. We're a multicolour deck. What else is good and cheap? Let's just search for add mana of any colour. Ooh, Delighted Halfling. Yeah. Alright, we're going a bit try-hard with our ramp section, actually. But again, we're just adding good bits. This can be... This is fine if it's just Llanowar Elves and that kind of stuff. Ooh, I'm going to add Biophagus. I love Biophagus. Oh, even though the only creature we're really going to be casting with this is Kotis, just giving it a counter from the start, I think is quite nice. And I love Biophagus, personally. What this deck really needs is the Sultai, what do you call it? Druid. What's there's the 1-mana ones that tap. There's one that taps for Bant, one that taps for Jund, and gives your creature +1/+. The Hierarchs. Where's the Sultai Hierarch? That would be sick. Actually, let's have a look at. Is there anything obviously that we've missed? Bristly Bill. Ooh, Bristly Bill fucks. Do we want Bristly Bill as a Voltron bit? Yeah, that's a Bristly Bill. Actually, is that good? No, we're not. Again, you could go. Oh yes, that's a good shout. Yeah, the non-human creatures are there for some more mutate. Yeah, some good mutate targets. So Biophagus is a human, but everything else isn't. That's pretty nice. Just for time, let's just do Llanowar Elves. Screw it. Still a good magic card. What else? Why can't I think of another? All right. Screw it. Let's go really try hard. Let's do Deathrite Shaman as our other bit of ramp. We can run it. We're in these colours. Marvelous. All right. So 10 bits of ramp. So we have 9 bits of consistent bits of ramp, and then 1 Tanuki Transplanter as like a push us late game. I think that's pretty solid. All right. Card draw. So there's a few bits of card draw I want. Deal damage. Draw card. So I want a couple of these. So Toski, great card. Spell can't be countered, indestructible when it attacks each combat able, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So again, so we're not going to have as many cards in our deck, but we are going to be stealing creatures from our opponent's decks. So that's where Toski, Orhan Frostfang, attacking creatures you control have Death Touch as well. That's death. We have plenty of ways of giving Kotis Trample, and Death Touch and Trample is a nice little combination. It means we only have to deal 1 damage. You come back, have you? Meow. We going straight Coastal Piracy effects? Maybe. I think what we actually want is Hunter's Insight. Shoots out creature control. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker this turn, draw that many cards. This type of stuff is going to be great in this deck. It's going to draw so many cards. Card draw. Let's have a quick check on Curve. Curve is phenomenal. Well done, us. Thundercat. Come on. Come on, you. Come on. Come on. We got about 15-20 minutes. Your audience is waiting, darling. Meow. You come here. Come on. She's playing hard to get. Apologies, chat. Oh, meow. Oh, good cat. Hello. Ooh, actually, I've had a great idea. We're going to run Gix. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, so it incentivizes people to attack each other. And we're going to run Edric. Hell yeah. Again, we will only have 1 creature, but it will definitely have evasion. What we can do is, with some of our evasion, we can move around. So things like Brotherhood Regalia, Trailblazers Boots. Ooh, maybe we want another bit of... Okay, we might want some other bits of... But basically, we're going to be making a massive board state from our opponent's decks. And then when we hit our opponents with them, cards like Edric and Gix will be phenomenal. And I always love running these cards. I think they're great. So I'm well up for running these. Alright. The last bits of... So that's actually quite a lot of card draw already. The next one I want is drawing cards equal to a creature's power. This is very good in a deck where you're planning on having a large creature. Yes, I know it starts off as a 2-1, but it will not be a 2-1 for long if we're doing anything. So, Return of the Wild Speaker. Draw cards equal to the power among to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. So, again, if we buffing it up, it's going to be big. Also, is an overrun effect later in the game, which we love. Rishkar's Expertise. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. You may cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from your hand. So it's going to draw us a bunch of cards. We get to play something for free. Great magic card. We can't go down the Greater Good Disciple of Freylei's route, because these require us to sack our creature, which we don't want to be sacking our commander. But we can do Soul's Majesty. 5 mana, draw cards equal to the power target creature you control. So we do have card draw all over the deck. So we have some stuff we can do early, some stuff we can do a little later. Like we can just run just like Ponders and Preordains, but it's Commander. Let's get big, and our curve is actually already pretty good, so we can run these type of effects. Do we want Mark of Grizzlebrand? It could kill us, but it's kind of vibey. Equipped creature has flying and lifelink, and equipped creature dies. You may pay X life, where X is its power. If you do, draw X cards. I think that's pretty good, actually. We don't have it in the deck already, I'm assuming. So it's also evasion. Also lifelink on our commander is pretty good. Let's have a look. Let's stick this in card draw. We have a suggestion from chat. Zavala, which one? The mono green one? Zavala's pretty good. This one, I'm assuming. Add X in any combination of power. Yeah. You could definitely add this. I could definitely see a world where it's probably more consistent than Tanuki Transplanter. Yeah, I don't hate that. Yeah. I think just for time, I'm going to keep things as they are. But yeah, you could definitely swap Zavala for... Again, Zavala falls into the category of it's not guaranteed ramp, but it can make us a lot of mana. I think I'm going to keep Tanuki Transplanter in just because it's going to remind me to do the thing I know I want to do, which is attack. With these decks, in Limited, when they're designing sets, they will put rules on text to make you do the thing the card is meant to do, like must attack each turn, that kind of stuff. To make sure you're doing the thing that the card actually wants you to do. Tanuki Transplanter will remind me to attack, so I think we'll keep that in for the time being. But yeah, Zavala, great card. Do love that. I think it would be very solid in this deck. Right, we've got about 15 or so minutes. We've got our card draw, we've got our ramp. Let's finish off our interaction. So, and then we'll get to some cool bits. So let's just go to the cube. Let's... Bit of Triumph. I don't think you can drop and drag from... Can you? Please tell me that worked. Yes! You can drop and drag from Cube Cobra! This does everything now! Alright. Interaction. Marvellous. Infernal Grasp. We can be a bit generic with these bits. We just want good, efficient bits. So, there's the free spells as well. Deadly Rollick, you could add that. Let's add... Snuff Out. Again, we're doing a little... Try hard a little bit with this just because I'm going for bits that I have and good. I have and are good. We don't want Deluge. Because... -X will kill our commander. Indestructible, though... Oh, you could just load this deck up with board wipes, actually. That's kind of funny. Don't run any interaction, just run board wipes. Don't run no destroy target creature, run no evasion, run no creature ramp. Just run board wipes as ways of getting Kotis. That's kind of funny, actually. Let's add a Damnation in here. Because Damnation does just kill things. Let's do the second board wipe. So we do want destroy. We're going to build it normally. Destroy creatures. Destroy all? Again, you could Cyclonic Rift in here. I can't be bothered with that. We could do in Garrett's... Destroy creatures above ones you don't control. That could be fun. No, let's do... let's just do efficient. What is... So we do just want to destroy all creatures. We don't like... there is like Pernicious Deed and that kind of stuff, but because we're going to have a bunch of auras and a bunch of equipment, we don't want to destroy that kind of stuff. We just want to destroy all creatures. We just want generic board wipes in this deck. I mean, to an extent... Oh, hold on. Mandate of Abaddon. I say Abandon. How do I say it? Abaddon. Abaddon or Abandon. Choose target creature you control with destroy creatures with power less than that creature's power. So late game, this is going to be great. I'm not sure we want fake death effects in this deck, if I'm honest with you. I don't think that, because it's a... Fake your own death? I don't think we need this type of effects, if I'm honest with you. Like, they would be fine as some protection. I think they'd be okay. Like, the ones that you actually... I think with this deck, you're not really going to want mana. We don't have any ETBs in this deck, so I don't get full advantage of this. I'd rather it be on something, our protection be on something that also gives it like +1/+1 or stuff like that. I think that's where I'd rather go with the protection. If I'm honest with you, we just don't have as many ETBs in this deck, so you don't get as much out of this type of effect. I think generally these are great, and they would be fine in the deck, but you're just not optimizing your potential, as it were, just because this doesn't have a ETB. It's purely deal combat damage. Sorry, I was saying they are kind of funny with mutate, but if I'm doing that, I kind of want ways to sacrifice them. I kind of want to be able to control that, if that makes sense. Like, you can definitely add some mutate. Like the Deadpool deck we built yesterday had a bunch of these type of effects in. But they were good there because we can control when we're sacking them. We control when we're not having to like Doomblade our own creature to do some cool funny pile with mutate. But they're fun cards. They'd be fine in the deck. I just think they're just more synergistic options that I think I want to go with. Right, so a couple bits more interaction. So we have 2 board wipes. We want Beast Within. Just hits anything. We love Beast Within. 2 bits more. I mean, we're in Sultai, so let's go old school. Maelstrom. Pulse. Destroy target non-land permanent and all other permanents with the same name as that permanent. This probably isn't the best anymore, but just... There's something reassuring about having it in your deck. It can be a board wipe. It can like take out a token player quite well. We'll probably do Assassin's Trophy, and we'll spell it correctly. Assassin's Trophy as our last bit. Just destroy target permanent. That is great. We're in the colours, so we might as well add it in. Alright. We're at 57, and we have the bulk of our deck. I can see there's maybe a couple bits more protection, but there's a couple of cool cards I wanted to talk about first. I made a note of these earlier when I was looking at the deck. So, because we have room, we're going to add some dedicated win cons. One of them is Brainstealer Dragon. This card looks sick in the deck. 5 black, 6/6, flyer. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each opponent's library. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast it. That's not the super important part. The next line really slaps. Whenever a non-land permanent an opponent controls, or whenever a non-land permanent an opponent owns enter the battlefield under your control, they lose life equal to its mana value. That with Kotis is nuts. Because what we're doing, this lets us cast them for free. So if we deal 10 damage and we cast 10 mana, or cast like 10 mana's worth of stuff, we'll deal that opponent 10. This could just kill players. Like, if we just double up, like that is so much damage. I think we need, like, that is such a strong swing. It's kind of nuts. We're actually going to tag this just purely as dedicated win cons. This is only in here to win us the game. I mean, worst case scenario, I mean, it will give us a bit of value, like the middle ability isn't why we're putting it in the deck, but it is card draw, which is nice. The other one I wanted to shout out, which I think works really well, is Ancient Celespawn. 1 black, 3/3. It has a cost reduction effect for nightmares and demons that we don't think we care about, but whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast a spell was less than its mana value, target opponent loses life equal to the difference. So as far as I'm aware, casting spells for free works with this. So with Kotis, you may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. So we're not... So if a spell costs 5, we are casting it for 0. We're not paying its mana cost. With this, we would deal that opponent 5. I'm pretty positive this is great. This works exactly as we want, and this is a dedicated win con, and I think it's going to slap in this deck, if I'm honest with you. I think it's going to be great. Trying to think if there's anything else obvious that we've missed. Have a quick think, quick look. Right. Let's see if there's anything that... I think I might have missed some stuff, like deal damage. Let's have a... Deals combat damage? Or just deal... Yeah, let's do deal combat damage. I think that's what we want. Nothing, apparently. Have I spelled that right? Is there an apostrophe there? Or is it deal? I think there's going to be some stuff in here, like similar to the Binding Passive type of effects and the Toski. Old Gnawbone's kind of funny. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to play, you create that many treasure tokens. That's a hell of a lot of ramp. That could be quite funny. Yeah, any of the dragons could be actually quite strong if you put them in your deck. Cold Eye Selkie as a backup card draw could be quite fun. We're kind of like, basically, we've actually been very good. We actually have the bulk of the deck here. Like, I think we might be a bit light on protection, but we might... That can be quite easy to fix. What do we want? Are we going? Could we run some Ophidians, actually? Whenever a crypt creature does combat damage to a player, draw a card. And it has... It gives it +1/+1 and ward 1. Let's add combat research. We'll call it protection for now. I think we'll call it protection. Actually, we can tag classification as a win con, because that's kind of what it's in the deck for. Actually, do we... If we're assuming we're going to be making a board state from our opponent's stuff, do we run Pathbreaker Ibex? When it attacks creatures you control, gain trample, and it gets +X in turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If we're going to make Kotis massive, do we just run Pathbreaker Ibex as a way of... It's the hoof in this deck, that kind of thing. I think I like that. It's kind of funny anyway. Like, I'm assuming we're going to have a deck from our opponent's stuff. A deck full of... Or a board state full of our opponent's creatures. Where are we? On 61? We've done pretty well. Let's do the final paranoia check, and let's look at EDH rec and just see if there's anything obvious that we've missed. Again, generally I like looking at EDH rec at the end, just because it helps keep our deck a bit more unique than anyone else's. Gonti, that would be quite fun. They'll probably just make up. If we're doing Edric Gix, you could, yeah, we could add Gonti. Dragonfire Blade, gets super hexproof and monocolored. Equip 4. That's all right. Hexproof and monocolored, I think I quite like. That's okay. It's nice and cheap. Ooh, Felix 5 boots. That might be quite cool. If a creature you control dealing combat damage to a player causes a triggered ability of opponent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time. Kotis is a triggered ability. Felix slaps. Okay, Felix can get in. We'll call you WinCon, because that seems pretty good. We've probably got room for 1 or 2 more cards, if anything stands out. We've got all of these. All right, well, add Rogue's Passage, because that's going to be in our lands, and it's going to be pretty good. We're coming to an end. We got most of this. Hooray. All right, Great Minds Think Alike. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, put up as a counter on target creature. At the beginning of your end step, untap your creature you control with a counter on it. That's synergistically cool, but a bit anemic. I think we might leave it there, actually. Maybe 1 more card, just... Again, doubling up the triggers, Roaming Throne. I don't hate that. I think that's kind of funny. There might be a better one. Let's... Yeah, you see, you can definitely go down the Enchantress route with this. Actually, Eternal Witness just has a bit of recursion. We don't really have any recursion. Let's add you in. A touch of recursion, I think, is going to be perfectly fine. Especially in a deck where we have a bunch of auras and stuff that's going to go to the graveyard. Yeah, I think Eternal Witness is a pretty nice utility option here. Cubby Wubby. Yeah, I think let's do that. Let's have a quick look at utility lands. These are all fine. Yeah, this is going to be pretty stock, actually. Oh, Shizo Death Storehouse is pretty good. I'm going to add it, because I don't... This has to be cheaper than this. It was in the bonus sheet of... there's a bunch of foils of these printed that I'm hoping are cheap. Lands that give evasion to creatures are going to be good, basically. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'll sort the lands a bit later on, but it's going to be your pretty standard stuff like Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, and then as many budget jewels as possible. So we don't have to go straight to shock lands. We can do... We'll be running the Pain lands, probably the Fast lands because they're in standard right now, and like these kind of things. So like with our three visits can get the forest version of these check lands, something like that. Yeah, that's how we're doing it. But yeah, I will sort that out later today when I'm on my lunch break and such. But yeah, this deck looks sick. Like, I think it's going to be really good at buffing up Kotis with all these Voltron effects, getting Kotis through for damage with all these evasion effects. We're going to be protecting it. We're going to make such a big board state. We'll be drawing a bunch of cards, interacting with our opponents greatly. You could definitely run like some cheap counter magic as your protection as well. If you wanted to keep up mana, like an offer you can't refuse, that kind of stuff, or just counterspell, also pretty solid. And then we have these cool win cons. We have these cards which I think are going to be disgusting in the deck. But then stuff like Felix to double up our our commander's effects, and then classification to one-shot an opponent, and Pathbreaker Ibex to turn the board that we're stealing from our opponents into a lethal threat when Kotis is massive. This deck looks sick. I can see why this is one of the more popular ones from the set, because we added a couple more expensive cards at the end, but like you don't need to. Just run like the bulk, like the core of the deck is evasion, protection, Voltron, turn the lad sideways, and hope for the best. Like stuff like Pathbreaker Ibex is just kind of seasoning on the top, as it were. You don't necessarily need it. But yeah, nothing in the card draw is super expensive apart from Gix. Again, you don't need that. You can run Gonti from the new set. I think this is sick. Yeah, sweet. Love it. Alright, that's going to do it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Do remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, if you like the video, please and thank you. Helps other people find it. Yeah, we're back tomorrow. Haven't decided what we're going to be doing yet. We might do another commander. There's a bunch from Tarkir, Dragonstorm out there. Might do a tier list. I don't know. Like I will see. Like unless anyone gives me a cool suggestion in the chat, we'll do whatever I fancy when I wake up tomorrow morning. But I am always open to cool suggestions, so do put them in the comments. I do check them out. It is greatly appreciated. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you all very much for being here. Again, thanks for all the chats and stuff. Always great to kind of get some input on these decks. Always helps me out. But until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.